What is going on, everybody? Today we're going to talk about the Panasonic GH5s. Is it for you? Is it for me? I don't know, let's see. That was not supposed to rhyme. Alright, so today was very interesting. I've been waiting for today for a long time. Today is the day that Panasonic unveiled and officially told us that the GH5s is a reality. They showed specs, and then they lifted the press embargo, and we could watch all of the reviewers hash it out about the things that they liked and disliked about the camera. And it seems like a beast. It's a GH5 with amazing low light capabilities. It's got the dual ISOs of the EVA1, which means that you can point it at something in the dark and get a shot. And I love this. I love this because I do a lot of event work and I have to be in dark rooms and I don't get redos on shots. Now I know this is like a huge debate among cinematographers and video guys all over YouTube. People are like, well, you know, if you need low light, then it means you didn't know how to light your scene. This is just not true. This is total bunk because that just shows that you've never been an event shooter. Sometimes you can't lug a light to a scene. There are lots of places where you can't even bring a light. And so it's just stupid to say that the people who need low light capabilities are people who don't know how to use their cameras. That's just not true, okay? Let's get that out of the way. Since I started using cameras, I have had a GH4. I'm super comfortable with it. The menus are super intuitive. The 4K is phenomenal. The slow motion is amazing, but there are some things about it that I really don't like. And the first one is low light. It doesn't have good low light. It's a small sensor. It's not made for that. It's meant to be tiny, not to be an Alexa. And it also doesn't have very good autofocus. The depth from defocus contrast detect system is just nowhere near Canon's phase detect system. You can't use it reliably. You just can't. If you're a vlogger, if you're doing stuff like this, then you have to make sure you get focused first. And that takes time, and time equals resistance. The more resistance you have, the less likely you are to get a good shot or be super inspired. And, you know, I mean, here, I get it. The point is that you're not going to be using autofocus if you're pointing it at something, if you're in a commercial shoot or whatever. I get it. Okay, I'm looking for the everything camera. I can't have everything I want. So yeah, Micro Four Thirds has some trade-offs, but still I was convinced that I wanted a GH5, and so I saved up and I was waiting. I was trying to be smart and wait until my career got to a place where I was making enough money to afford a new camera. When I got there was November, and in November I started to see rumors about a GH5s, a low-light version of the GH5, and so I was like, man, I better hold on to my money because who knows, it may be awesome. It may be the A7S killer. Now fast forward to January 8th, and it's amazing. But it's missing some things that would make it the giant slayer that I had kind of hoped for. For one, the IBIS is gone. The in-body stabilization from the GH5 is not there. It's a trade-off. I understand that this is a parallel model. This is not intended to be a successor, but it still hurt. It burned. And the next thing was the autofocus is the exact same system in the GH5. It's not improved. I still have the same problems that I basically had from the beginning. Only now, with the GH5s, I don't have that in-body stabilization. I don't have the freedom from a glide cam or from a Movi to get those great crisp shots without using slow motion. It hurts, and so now I'm torn. Now I've seen a lot of guys. I've seen Matty Hapoja from Travel Fields, who does amazing work, Peter McKinnon, self-explanatory, and Casey Neistat all switched to the 6D Mark II, which has been getting panned all over the internet due to lackluster specs. It's a camera that has no 4K and very limited slow motion and very limited dynamic range. Compared to something like a GH series camera, it looks like a total flop, except that its full frame has amazing autofocus and a flippy screen. Flippy screen's a big deal. Something else that the 6D Mark II does not have that the GH series has is 4K. 4K is such a huge deal. If you are, for instance, a one-man band trying to shoot an interview and you've only got time to set up one camera and one light, then having 4K means you already immediately have at least 2 camera angles because you can crop in. You deliver in 1080p and you've got the 4K downscaled image from here, and then you've got this. You've got the 2 times crop. A close-up is built into the camera. It's amazing and has saved my life and made what would otherwise be some boring interview pieces much better, much more energetic. But maybe it'll work. Maybe it's for me. Maybe the GH5 is still the right choice. It seems like the GH5s is not quite for me yet. It looks like it's aimed at somebody who's always able to have stabilization. It looks like it's aimed at somebody who's using a rig, like I never am. So, in order to help me make this decision that has been destroying my soul and crushing my spirit for the past few months, I have decided to challenge myself. So here's that challenge. Here's what I'm going to do. Instead of renting some cameras and then waiting even longer to get a GH5s in my hands, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go the opposite direction. I'm going to challenge myself to shoot without 4K, to shoot with only 60 frames per second, and to not use autofocus, which I don't even have a camera that I can use autofocus with anyway. The only other camera I have is a Canon 60D. Will I succeed? Can I live without these things? I really don't know. So the next few videos are going to be super interesting. If you're having difficulty figuring out what camera is for you, then maybe watching me struggle for the next few videos to get good content with these very specific limitations will help you to make a decision. If you think this is going to be interesting, if you're new to this channel, then consider subscribing and joining me on this journey. We're going to see what I can really live without, and maybe you can figure out what you can live without as well. So I've got a giveaway going on too. The link is in the description. Consider subscribing and joining that to get some prints from my recent trip to Kenya. I've got some rad pictures that I'd love to give away to you for free. So I guess we should start this challenge now. Switching to 1080p. Poof! There we go. As you can see, my 4K crop on the GH4 is gone. This is the full sensor readout. It's probably a lot softer. You can definitely tell that this table is not 100% level. I don't care. It's gonna be pretty rock and roll from this point on. Will I fail? Of course I will. How? You'll just have to watch to find out. See y'all in the next video.